What's going on, guys? Welcome to the very first hot take review, where we're going to be chopping up, dissecting, and throwing out these hot takes that the mainstream media brings about our Vikings and maybe the odd NFL one as well. Today, we're going to take it easy on them because it's not that often that we get the mainstream media gassing us up. Let's get right to it.
You did so much film work on him going into the draft last year, and it's so unfortunate we haven't seen him at all yet in the NFL, but we're going to. What should we expect?
Yes, sir.
I think a lot of the things that you hear Kevin O'Connell talking about as far as how brilliant he is, in the meeting rooms and how good of a guy he is in the locker room, you're going to see that translate on the football field. And what he's talking about is that he has functional intelligence. He has functional athletic ability, functional instincts. In real time, you see it all come together, and it's why they moved up to draft him number 10 overall. This guy's one of the great leaders. He can move in the pocket. He can pick up first downs with his legs. He can make all platform throws. He just wasn't asked to do, Hannah, as you know, he wasn't asked to do this and carry the load when he was at Michigan. He's going to be asked to do a lot more of it now, and I think he'll be up to the challenge. He's got a fantastic team and a fantastic coaching staff surrounding it.
Well said. A couple of things kind of raised some eyebrows there. He said, one of the great leaders. Okay. We'll give him that. I think he's just probably like a moment where he's just trying to get something in to remember what the points that he was gonna make here. But we're gonna give him a pass. A really good job touching the surface, kind of letting the casual NFL fan a little bit of an insight of what's going on in Minnesota here. The first thing he said is that KOC has said multiple times, and it's well known, especially by us Vikings fans, that how brilliant JJ McCarthy is, and that this specifically is going to translate well onto the football field. He mentioned he's got functional intelligence, functional athleticism, functional instincts, which is why they moved to pick him up at pick 10, which I totally agree. What we saw with last year's preseason game and through OTAs, and then this year's just small sample size of this year's OTAs, he's looking really solid. A lot of those things that he's mentioning pans out because he has had that year to sit behind the resurgence of Sam Darnold being in that quarterback room. A lot of the things that I really enjoyed about the quarterback room that we had last year is the fact that the amount of experience on that roster was unreal. So we had Josh McCown, which is one of the best football minds, quarterback football minds there are. A really, really good borderline starting quarterback. We've seen him have his moments, right? Pretty legendary. So having him being the mentor and being that soul, that confidence for Sam Darnold last year was huge. All that experience that comes from just JJ McCown. He had seen a lot of the ups and downs and experienced all the things. And the one cool thing about Josh McCown is during that entire time, his confidence didn't waver. Just being around Josh McCown for an entire year, even though, yeah, just that through osmosis, just through talking, just through hearing what is being said in the quarterback room to Sam throughout that whole season, on top of watching what it's like to prepare for an NFL season. So, like, giving him that extra little insight for this year. Then we have Sam Darnold, a top pick in the NFL, similar to JJ being a top 10 pick, right? Well, not as high, obviously. Sam went a lot higher, but he's still in that kind of same pressure level where when you're getting picked that high, there's a lot of expectations for you. And we saw Sam come in with incredible skill and talent. We saw some incredible highlights as a rookie, despite all the hardships. But what's important is that journey, that wealth of knowledge, that experience of having that burden of carrying the load is something that JJ had a whole year to be around, right? I'm sure the conversation was brought up even through third-party accounts when Josh McCown and Sam were trying to work through some of these struggles. So there was a lot of wisdom and knowledge that he picked up through our quarterback room last year. So that functional intelligence has only grown, that poise. We've seen that in OTAs. He looks super confident. His footwork looks amazing. I couldn't tell which knee was the one that he had scoped and repaired. He looked comfortable, strong, and 100% agree that, yeah, this is why we picked him, right? One thing that kind of bugs me, let me go back here. It says tore meniscus and right knee in preseason opener last season, right? Like, so the mainstream media, let me just kind of like briefly talk about that because I'm sure a lot of us kind of irks us, right? Especially that we know a little bit more about the situation. Most likely that knee injury was a pre-existing injury from his college playing days, and it wasn't a major injury, right? So going into last season after that first preseason game and he was experiencing some knee pain. That's when they kind of diagnosed and found out that he had that injury, and it was minor. So they had the option, hey, we can just clip it, kind of make it do. And at some point later in the career, you're gonna start experiencing more and more discomfort, more pain, and it's gonna be need to be something that's gonna be managed. Or because it isn't that massive, we can just go with a full operation try to repair it so that we can avoid that, but instead of the problems and the issues being on the back end of the issue, it's going to be at the very front. So you're not going to play this year, right? So it's a very different situation than he went out in preseason one and scrambling snapped his, or tore up his meniscus. And now, they got to like shave it or cut chunks out of it off and kind of do some sort of surgical, magic to try to get it back to something for a total young guy. But that's not what it was. It was just a minor repair. They took the precautionary option. Why wouldn't you? He's a super young kid. Therefore, he's got a lot more of the testosterone and HGH, all these things that when you're a young man, you're still, because he's pre 25, right? So his body's still developing. It's going to allow him to recover from this injury a lot better and therefore mitigate a lot of the long term side effects of this knee injury. So it kind of irks me when the mainstream media talks about this injury. I've seen some of the mainstream media talk about how they make it seem like he snapped his ACL last year, and it's like, oh, why wouldn't they just trade JJ and keep Sam Darnold? Sam's definitely proven that he's a franchise quarterback, and I totally agree. So keep him. Let's ship off JJ McCarthy while he's got some trade value. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Essentially, it's like you just bought a brand new car and you just noticed that in the back right bumper there's a little scratch on it, and so let's just move on. Let's put this one over a freaking scratch. No, you're not going to do that. Okay. So pump the brakes on this knee injury bull shit that we've been seeing. Pardon my French. But I don't know. It just irks me. So a little bit of a side rant there. But let's go back to the good things that he was talking about. Let me pull up my notes here. He said one of the great leaders. He has led teams. He has been a part of that winning team. So maybe that's what he means. But he hasn't established that or proven that in the NFL. But then again, like I was saying in yesterday's live, man, Andrew Luck, that boy looked like he'd been playing in the NFL for 20 years to me. He had such poise, such control. He looked like a man among boys out there. It was insane to see. So, like, maybe that's what he means. There's still a little bit more to be proven, but I like the sentiment, so we're going to give him a pass on that. Maybe it's a little bit too early to call him one of the great leaders in the quarterbacks in the NFL, because there's a ton of them right now. He said he moves great in the pocket, which we saw in some of the highlights in yesterday's video or live, where yeah, JJ's looking really good. Last year, Geno Smith really had me fall in love with footwork and the technique in the pocket. So I was a little bit more aware of it watching these highlights yesterday, and he looks confident. He looks good. He looks smooth. I can't disagree. We have to wait until we got some actual regular season play to see at the NFL speed how well his ability to move in the pocket is going to be. But I have high hopes. There's no reason why KOC and the boys are not going to have him fully ready for week one here. He's not a traditional mobile quarterback, but he can pick up first downs with his legs. He's athletic, right? That functional athletics, that functional instincts, right? He also said that he can make all platform throws, which is nice. On the run, inside the gun, the pistol, we saw him doing some read option drills yesterday, so I'm extremely ecstatic. Last thing that he had mentioned, right? He didn't really get asked to be, to carry the load in Michigan. But he said that he's going to be asked to do it now. I understand the sentiment, right? Because it's a transition from college level to NFL. So he means there's going to be so much more asked of him in comparison when it comes to training, preparation, all levels of football, right? In comparison to college. So maybe that's what he means. But at the same time, he's got an incredible running back situation where they can take a lot of the pressure off of him, right? Young rookie quarterback's best friend is his running game. On top of, we have our trenches have been addressed, and I'm hoping to see some jumps in performance from the O-line this year. So got one of the best safety blankets in the league in Hawkinson, right? We've got one of the best receiver in the league, in my opinion. We got an incredible wide receiver too in Addison. We just have an incredible stable of receivers. He's got nothing to worry about. Set up for success is an understatement when it comes to JJ McCarthy. All that being said, on top of the defense taking a lot of the pressure off him as well, I feel like he's not going to be asked to be carrying the load. I think he's just going to be doing the same thing that he did in Michigan, especially this first 3 years, 1 to 3 years, depending on how fast he progresses. Yeah, I feel like these first 3 years are going to be very much him leaning on his ability to play with his team's strengths rather than putting it all on himself, right? And through that process, KOC has been proven to be an incredible quarterback coach. And on top of the fact that I didn't mention it yesterday, but he is also part, just like B-Flow, of being part of that Patriots dynasty, right? So he learned through being a part of and being inside the building when it came to that dynasty, right? And I'm hoping that experience translates into the development of JJ McCarthy. So I'm extremely ecstatic. Vikings Nation is extremely pumped up, and I think we have every right to be. Like I said, we have all the ingredients in the world to make our team, this era of Vikings football, one of the best in history. And I'm so extremely proud and happy to see our boys doing so well. I love seeing all the offseason acquisitions. I'm going to sit back, relax, have faith, and enjoy the ride. The team, everybody from Cam down to the players, they're all doing a fantastic job, and I have faith, and I cannot wait. It's no better time to be a Vikings fan. All right, guys. So that brings us to the end of hot take review number one. A good, easy one. Tomorrow, we're not going to take it easy. We're going to find some of these egregious hot takes. Maybe we'll start one from last year. I hope you guys are having a great day. Vikings Nation, skol, baby. And I hope you guys are having a great day, a wonderful one. I hope you guys are blessed. Take care, guys.